Hello, this is Michael Diamond, and you're watching Muscle Central, and I'm here once again with Ricky T. Anthony. We're going to be talking about distended abdominals on bodybuilders, more commonly known as bubble gut. The common theory is that these bodybuilders are using too much drugs, GH to be specific, and it's causing their abdominal organs to grow. Ricky, what do you think about this?
I don't think it's solely and completely GH. So let's go through a quick history of it. Let's go to the 80s and the 90s. You had bodybuilders like Bertil Fox, Lee Haney, even Sergio Oliva competed in that era with a 29-inch waist, never had bubble gut. You had Lee Labrada, Rich Gaspari, Barry DeMay. None of them had the bubble gut. And even Bertil Fox, he was considered a mass monster, never had the bubble gut. Coming to the 90s, you had guys like Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, and all those guys of that era, and they never had the bubble gut, but they were all using the same thing. They used GH, they used testosterone. Where I think the problem was, when the arms race started, was insulin that caused you to force feed yourself. So you took a lot of insulin to get to force feed yourself, and even the average sedentary guy, you know, if you eat a lot, your stomach's going to distend. So that's where I'm going with this. But add to it, I heard Amin Alion, RX Muscle, my people's, Dave Palumbo, what's up? When he broke down growth hormone, he said within a certain minimal IUs, you would have muscle growth. If you exceeded a certain IUs, you would have organ growth. And then going above that would be bone growth. So with the arms race, you add the uber amounts of insulin to the uber amounts of food. Now you want to add uber amounts of GH, bubble gut.
Okay, first off, let me say straight out, I don't think it's GH causing internal organ growth. Plain and simple, if that was the case, when these bodybuilders that have this distended midsection, when they stop competing and they go off the drugs, they downsize, you would think that if it was internal organ growth, that there would still be some visible signs of enlarged organs. And you don't really see that. Ronnie Coleman,
Correct.
who's at the end, he was so massive, he had that distended gut. There was no doubt about it. It's very obvious. Downsized, and you don't see any signs of it. Dave Palumbo was another one. He started showing a
Agreed.
distended midsection. And now if you look at Dave Palumbo, he's lean and trim, and there's absolutely no signs of it. Personally, I think it's insulin in an indirect way, but it's basically the amount of food they're eating. Let me just drift away from this for a moment. Back when I was competing, I never went more than about 10, 15 pounds over my competition weight. So I was always lean. You always saw my abdominals. One of the shows I regularly competed in every year during my competition years was the first Saturday in November, a few weeks before Thanksgiving. By the time Thanksgiving rolled around, I was still lean and I looked basically almost ready to step on stage again. Like most people, went out Thanksgiving, family, friends, whatever it was. We
Yeah.
sat down,
Yeah.
we ate a lot of food. And we ate more food than we should be eating. And I would go home at night and I would
Yes.
take my shirt off, and you could still see the outline of the abdominals,
Yes.
but my stomach was bulging. So
But
I was
but
in
to add to
condition. The
that,
rest of my body still looked great, and you still saw the abdominal outline, but the stomach was bulging. That's where
but that's the same thing with me. I mean, I shot some pictures and videos when I had lost a lot of weight, and you see my abs and everything. And while I was breathing, my stomach came up because everybody knows me, know I love to eat. But I could pull a vacuum. I had my everything together,
yeah.
and one or two people commented on it. But here's the one thing: when these guys, Ronnie, Dave, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when they're done with competing, they're not going to take the same amounts of insulin, growth hormone, testosterone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And just like anybody that doesn't work out, your muscles will atrophy.
Well,
So, I mean, for the organs to also lose size because you're not pumping it with growth hormone or pumping in those amounts of food. This is why guys like Dave and Dave worked with me before to get me in shape, has a flat stomach. And a lot of these other guys, they are flat and they look ripped because they know, okay, I'm not competing. I don't need to take 300 pounds of food a day. I just need 10 pounds of food a day. So your stomach will and just like when we're dieting, my stomach shrunk so much that if I tried to eat what I ate before I was dieting, oh my God, I felt like Fat Albert. I couldn't eat the food.
Okay, let me get back to what I was trying to say before now. A lot of these guys put up progress pics leading up to the competition, and a lot of these guys do photo shoots after the competition. Okay, now very rarely in the progress pics leading up to the show and the photo shoots they usually do a day or two after the competition, you don't see any signs of this distended midsection. You don't see it just before the show. You don't see it right after the show. All right. What's happening is
okay, good argument.
They're carving up. They're carving up before they go on stage. But what's happening is they're using insulin the day of the competition, and they're not using. They're not using only 2, 3, maybe 4 units of insulin and then taking some carbs to help fill out. They're taking large amounts of insulin. And then they're taking, so because of the amounts of insulin they're taking before they start carving up to go on stage, they have to take a certain amount, consume a certain amount of carbs to prevent the blood sugar from crashing. So what's happening is they're taking in such large amounts of food before they go on stage. The body doesn't have enough time to process it, and it's pushing. The stomach is swollen from the food that's sitting in the stomach, the food they're eating before they go on stage to prevent that blood sugar from crashing while they're on stage. So I don't think the GH has anything to do with it. I think it's primarily insulin in an indirect manner because the amount of insulin they're using and the amount of food they have to take to prevent the blood sugar from crashing is causing a bloated stomach. If they weren't using so much insulin, 2, 3, 4 units instead of reportedly, some of these guys are using 15, 20 units of insulin before they go on stage.
Right.
And you have to eat a lot of food to counter that so your blood sugar doesn't drop. So, of course, like on Thanksgiving, when I eat all that food, my stomach is sticking out. And I basically think that's what's going on over here.
All right. Well, let me close with my final points on this. All right. I think number one, insulin force feeding. You have to take that into consideration. Too much insulin, you got to gouge too much food, your stomach's going to be looking like Santa Claus, number one. Number two, the GH, the arms race. They want to take too much GH that grows the organs. So even if guys are not competing anymore, okay, they're not taking it anymore, so they'll get slim. But the guys that are competing are taking a lot. So the too much growth hormone is a factor. And for me, personally, finally, 3, the lack of accountability in the posing rounds. Make posing count in competitions. Make it count, and these guys will pay more attention to posing, holding their guts, and not force feeding or doing other things so that they can do good in the posing. That's just me.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll agree with you with the posing because I was taught years ago one thing to do for your abs is when you walk around, naturally you should just try to subconsciously suck your abdominals in and hold them tight. And if you keep on doing that over a period of time, it'll become a natural thing. that's probably part of the problem, that these guys get too relaxed on stage. I mean, you see them standing, waiting to be called out, and their guts are hanging out. That's another thing. In the old days, and when I was competing, I used to do it also. In the old days, when these guys were waiting to be called out, they were standing there in what we call the front, in bodybuilding, front relaxed pose, which is really like a misnomer, because you're not really relaxed. You're standing there, you're up there, and you're ready, and you're tight.
Yeah,
and these guys don't do that anymore. They just stand there. They're like, their heads going back and forth. Their hands are on their hips, and they're just too relaxed, and they're not even thinking about their body. And when I posed, I try to be aware of everything. I remember going back to the Pumping Iron movie. Remember the opening scenes of Pumping Iron? When Franco and Arnold were in the ballet studio, and she was trying to help them with posing, and she was telling them, you got to remember, they're not just watching you when you're doing this and this, they're watching you in between. So you need to be aware of your whole body from going from one pose to the next. And they're not doing that.
There's even a video out there with Chris Dickerson hired a dancer to help him with posing for the 1984 Olympia. Mm-hmm. So it's self-explanatory. Come on. Guys, get your shit together.
Okay.
At the end of the day, get your stuff together, guys.
I think with this topic, we're in agreement with some things and disagreement with others. You still think that GH has somewhat of a factor involved with this. I personally don't think GH has any factor at all. We both do agree that the insulin and the excessive amounts of food that are being used in the carb loading before they go on stage is a big factor. Am I right on that, Ricky?
Yeah, you got that right. I'll put it. Insulin, too much food, GH, and then posing right below it.
Okay. I think we can agree on most of this conversation, except for the GH. Of course, we don't know for sure what it is. We're not scientists. This is just our observation and our speculation. I think we can call that a wrap for tonight. Ricky, what do you think?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, this is Michael Diamond and Ricky T. Anthony signing out from Muscle Central. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share, and by all means, do subscribe. Good night, Ricky. Nice talking to you again.
You too, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay.